Hi, in this video we will be learning how to use and configure the COBOL File Source in Astera Centerprise. The COBOL File Source object can be found in the Sources section of the toolbox in Astera Centerprise. It can be used to fetch data from a COBOL file if the user has the workbook file available. The data in this file can then be further processed in the Dataflow and then written to a destination of your choice. To start, simply drag and drop the COBOL file source from the toolbox onto the Dataflow. To configure the COBOL file source, right-click and select Properties from the context menu. Alternatively, you can also double-click the object to open the Properties window. This is the Properties screen. Firstly, we will have to select a file path to fetch the COBOL file we intend to use. The option registers files with extensions of .dat and .txt. It can also register files with a .ebc extension. As you can see with our sample file, we are using an EBC extension. Secondly, we will select the type of encoding that will be used. This is done from a list of multiple options. For our case, let's select the IBM EBC DIC US Canada encoding. The Record Delimiter drop-down menu allows you to select the kind of delimiter used in the file. Here, we have selected No Delimiter. Thirdly, we will define a path to the copybook file to do our configuration without errors. The copybook path fetches files with extensions of .txt and .cpy. For our case, we will be using a file with the .cpy extension. Next, three checkboxes can be configured according to the user application. These options are: Ignore line numbers at start of lines. This box is checked when the data file has incremental values. It is going to ignore line numbers at the start of lines. Zone decimal sign explicit. It controls whether there is an extra character for the minus sign of a negative integer. Fields with comp usage store data in a nibble. Checking this box will ignore the comp encryption formats where the data is stored. Comp formats number from 1 to 6 in COBOL files. Lastly, there is an option present for record filter expression. Here, you can add a filter expression that you wish to apply to the records in the COBOL file. On previewing output, the result will be filtered according to the expression. Once done, click Next and you will be taken to the next screen of the Properties window. The COBOL source layout lets the user check the values read as an input. Expand the source node and you will be able to check each of the values and records that have been selected as an input. It gives the user data definition and field details on further expanding the nodes. Once these values have been checked, select Next. Then the Config Parameters tab is opened. Here you can configure and define parameters for the COBOL source object. Parameters can provide easier deployment of flows by eliminating hard-coded values and provide an easier way of changing multiple configurations with a simple value change. Please note that the parameters left blank will use their default values assigned on the Properties page. Click Next and you will be led to the General Options screen. You can add any comments here that you wish to add. The rest of the options on this screen have been disabled for this object. Once done, click OK. The COBOL file source object has now been configured. The data in this file can now be used within the scope of this data flow. This concludes our discussion on the COBOL File Source object and its configuration in Astera Centerprise. For more information on Astera Centerprise, please visit our documentation site. Thank you for watching this video.